Hey everybody, coming up on Sports Central, an inside look at why Polk County is the amateur sports capital of Florida. We have some special guests, some special segments. Stick around for this edition of Sports Central. Hey everybody, and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Mark Jackson, your host. To my right, Mr. Sam Baker, co-host and special commentator on some of the topics that we've got today. And Sam, you know, we have a wonderful track record in Polk County of sports success, both at the amateur and at the professional level. We're going to take a little bit of an inside look at the amateur level today. And it's really kind of exciting.
Oh, it's phenomenal. We talk about this all the time. And before we get too far, a big thank you to Hollywood Window Tinting and Signs, the sponsor of this segment of Sports Central. But really, is athletics in Polk County has always been the bread and butter. And there's so much to be excited about when it comes to the history of Polk County and this past year, as well as moving forward in the future. But really so many as far as, you know, state champions and athletes and all the above. It really is a great place to play sports.
Well, we're on the edge, on the verge of hosting our 25th, 24th maybe, year of the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame. June 8th, that will be held live at the RP Funding Center. And that's going to be an exciting time. But that segues beautifully into our very first special guest of the show, and that's Mr. Dan Talbot, the athletic director of Polk County School Board and the school system, I guess, lack of a better way to put it. Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always great to be here.
Well, you were named the 2021 Bernie Little Sports Executive of the Year, and the namesake Bernie Little, of course, has won so many unlimited hydroplane races and was an icon in the sport for years and years and years, and it's only appropriate that you're kind of stepping in now and elected the Executive of the Year. What does that mean for you?
It's a great honor for, you know, especially the year we've been through, but, you know, I can't accept the award alone. You know, when I found out that I won that honor, the first thing I thought of was how much thanks that we owe to our custodians, to our bus drivers, to the food service people. I mean, because people didn't realize how challenging this year was. I mean, you know, normally a school bus drops off the kids, runs by the school, picks up the athletes, take them to their event. Well, this year they had to stop and sanitize the bus to make sure the athletes were getting on a safe, clean bus. The food service workers had to prepare meals in a different way. You know, the custodians at the school, when the student athletes left the locker room, they cleaned the locker room, make sure it was safe, clean the weight room. So it's really an honor for myself, but all the coaches and the custodians and the secretaries that had to change buses, make changes, because we had a lot of cancellations this year. So I think it's really a culminating award for everybody that had their hand in the Polk County athletics this year to get us to where we are today, and we got all our sports seasons in, and that was probably our main objective. And you know, a year ago, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen, and to finish sports season and then to be as successful as we have on top of that is fantastic. But I want to thank all the coaches and the administrators, and our superintendent has been, you know, unbelievably supportive. And so it's a great honor that I get to accept, but I need people to know that it's an award that we all can be proud of, and everybody that touches, you know, a student athlete in the Polk County public school system, that this award is also for them as well.
Yeah, it's truly a testament to the cohesion and the teamwork all throughout Polk County, from, you know, even outside of the public school system, because, you know, you all have, you know, charter schools or private schools, and they all intermix and play each other. And it really took a team effort from everyone really to make that happen. And I know earlier in the year, you sat down with us and told us about sitting down, and you have a stacked, an entire plan that you guys are going to have to, develop and implement. I mean, it was a tough job.
It is, and it's one of those situations where things come down from the top, but his plan is only as good as the people that follow it. So thank you to the coaches and the athletic directors that took the plan and had input in the plan, which I think is so important, because I didn't want to put, everything that we did as our part of our COVID plan was vetted through the athletic directors at the school and the coaches, because I didn't want to do something that says, we can't do this. There's no way. So I had coaches on the committee that we vetted this, and we did, try to pick the best possible solutions to make our student athletes the safest. And obviously, like anybody else, we had hiccups, but we did not cancel sports, and we finished, and seniors got their senior year, which was important to us. And and simple things like making senior night the first game of the year. We learned that last year when we had to cancel spring sports, and that was our biggest complaint, is they didn't get their senior night. So we did them first this year to make sure we got them in, because we took for granted always playing a full season. So I think it woke up our eyes to some important things, and I think we're slowly, hopefully, coming out of the pandemic. But I know that if another pandemic comes our way, we'll be more prepared how to handle it, and should be able to keep going forward. So we're excited.
Well, there's nothing like experience being a great teacher, and experience. Well, I guess in some ways it didn't play in Bartow's favor this year. That was really the anomaly in Polk County sports this year. Bartow, for the first time in 30 years, didn't have Polk County didn't have a team, excuse me, not just Bartow, didn't have a team going to the state finals in softball. I mean, that was like a freak accident almost.
Yes, we had 3 teams in the regional finals, one step away, and it was just one of those nights where if it all could go wrong, it did. I mean, look at the pitcher at Bartow. I mean, she's unbelievable. She's only a freshman, so we're excited. And Auburndale had a great year, and Lake Region's always there. And you take for granted when you have 3 or 4 teams playing in the regional finals that someone's going to get there, because we're used to something always being there. And on that Friday night, I'll never like, they lost, we lost. It was like, so, but the coaches were upset. We wanted to get there, but then when you sit back and look and you take everything in, and you think about the pandemic, the fact that we got all the games in and we got to play is probably the most important thing. I mean, yes, I know the student athletes are upset, wanted to get to that next level, but when you have something to compare it to, which was a year before, you look at things through a different lens. So we're just excited that we got them in, and we'll give them a year grace, and hopefully we'll get back there next year. So.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about it a little bit too, but this year you all did play full seasons, and Polk County did see that usual success they always see. Multiple state champions. I mean, we had the usual Bartow cheer. Now Lakeland cheer is elevated to that, and now Bartow basketball going back to repeat. It seemed like even through everything, that perseverance was there, and they still came out to play and won.
Well, that was my biggest fear is, fall is always interesting with cross country and golf, and we had some great performances in the fall. But the one thing that scared me was you have Lakeland cheer and Bartow cheerleading, Lake Gibson wrestling, Bartow boys basketball, who all won state championships the previous year, and then here I am on the cuffs of Christmas break going, I got to slow this thing down. I gotta stop sports for 2 weeks. And of course, when I did it, it was not very popular at the time, but I just had a feeling if we stopped for 2 weeks and paused, let the virus run through our sports teams that had it, because it was spreading pretty rapidly amongst our sports teams, and we hit the reset button right when we got back from January, the whole time I was saying is please let Bartow boys basketball win, please let Bartow cheer win, please let everyone that we projected to win, and they did, which was exciting. I think the only one that came up short was George Jenkins cheer. They were runner-up, but that was my biggest fear, is getting the finger pointed at you is costing someone a state championship. But it worked out perfect, and we couldn't be happier. And I think it's funny, because all the coaches that were they wanted my job in December were like, it was the smartest thing you could have done. I didn't like it at the time, but looking back, it was the smartest thing we could have done. So,
well, a lot of successes last year or this year. last year and this year. But heading into 21, 22, what does that future look like?
That's the million-dollar question. Everybody wants to know: are we going to have masks, not have masks, temperature checks? And I'm fortunate enough where I will, unfortunately, we're losing Miss Bird, who's been an unbelievable supporter of Polk County athletics since the day she got on board, and we're going to miss her, and we look forward to our new beginning with Mr. Hyde, our new superintendent, and I'm going to sit down with him next week, and we're going to start looking at the protocols and talking with Scott from the health department. It's always the same question and answer. If things continue the way they are, we should have little to none restrictions next year. But it's just always that thing where you're trying to, people want to know now, but a lot of things can happen between now and then that could change that. So you're very reluctant to come out and say no temperature checks, no masks for athletes next year, where that could change, because you don't want something to say that something you said in May come bite you in August. So we're just going to look at all the data and make a sound decision. But we feel confident and we're pretty good.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of interesting too. The CDC continues to change its position on things. Spraying stuff down in the billions and billions of dollars that were spent on disinfecting and this and that and whatnot. Of course, the COVID virus isn't alive. It's it's DNA, RNA surrounded by fatty stuff.
Yeah.
And so on April 5th, they came out and said, well, you can't, zero chance of picking up COVID from a hard surface. So a lot of the protocol that was in place last year, now, well, it's not necessary. So that hopefully will change things.
And we sprayed everything down every time. The buses, the benches, the weight equipment, the bars.
Yeah.
But we didn't know as much as we know now.
No.
And I think, like you said earlier, the experience that we have, and it's interesting because when we shut down last year, our numbers were way worse now, and we played right through it.
Yeah.
But that unknown is what scared us. But now that we're gaining more information, like anything else, the experience, as you touched on earlier, we're better prepared to handle another situation like this and navigate through this. And we need to be diligent in washing our hands. We've always should have washed our hands and used hand sanitizers, and I think that brought it to the forefront. I don't see us wanting to get rid of the hand sanitizer, because I think it's just good for the cold and flu season in a normal
It's
year.
just plain good hygiene.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, brush your teeth. There's a lot of good. Take a bath.
A lot of those things we want to keep in place because they're just things you should do anyway. So,
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. I think that, as we look at the future, we talked about protocol and so on. However, the talent that you have in place now, talent that's coming back, I think it's going to be pretty
we're
good
excited.
situation. We're sitting here again next year. We're going to be going, wow.
Oh, I agree.
That's my read on it. Hopefully you agree.
Well, first time in a while we're sitting here, everyone's anxious about Lake Gibson football, and usually it's Lakeland. So Lake Gibson's, hopefully going to have a great year, and Lakeland obviously will be in the hunt as well. And then Bartow coming off an undefeated season, and the opening of the new high school with Davenport, and it's going to be exciting. And the turf field going in at Mulberry High School. So we got a lot of things going on. We're excited for a great summer and looking forward to fall of 21.
Sounds great. Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate not only the look back, but the look forward as well. You've done an unbelievable job and very deserving of the Bernie Little Sports Executive of the Year. We're going to see you June 8th at the RP Funding Center. And if you'd like more information about the All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame, we're just about at capacity now. But I think there's still, Sam, a couple of seats remaining. But we'll see you then, and congratulations, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of successes, which we like to speak about here on Sports Central, there's a guy that came from Polk County and went on to win a Super Bowl, or part of a team that won a Super Bowl. He's from Lakeland. His name, Ray Lewis. And we have some special footage from Ray's career. Check this out, everybody. Sam and Mark will be back right after this.
Thanks, guys. Neil Duncan here for Sports Central, and what a privilege I have right now. I've got number 52 with me, Ray Lewis. Ray, welcome back to Polk County.
Yeah, man. Always good to be home.
Here at the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. Of course, there's a big image of you back there, and we're getting ready to unveil the newest exhibit here at the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. But let's go back to August 4th, the induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What was that moment like?
Well, I think it was probably one of the greatest moments ever when you talk about from just a dream, right? What does that dream look like? And so when you finally get there, man, it's like you're in a dream because you're seeing some of the greatest legends of all time that you watch grow up when you was growing up. And then when you get there, you're like, well, guess what? You're not watching them anymore. Like, you're actually a part of the team. And so it's a special thing because you're invited into something it's a one-time thing, and it's forever. You can never get cut. You can never be taken down, and none of that can happen. And so it's one of those things, man, that you sit back from a child and you say, did I actually accomplish that? Mm-hmm. Like, am I sitting here really? And just experiencing it with my family and my daughter and my friends and everybody, man. It was probably one of the greatest sports achievements ever that took me to the next level, honestly, yeah.
I was just getting ready to say, I could go through all the achievements that you accomplished over your career, but we only have an hour show, so we're not going to go through all those. But talk about the Super Bowls, talk about the MVP, talk about those, going out on top. What did that mean to you?
Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, man. And I think one of the greatest things for me was, I tell guys this all the time, me being in Baltimore for 17 years, wow. I mean, first of all, I would never, ever put on another uniform. And to win championships the way we done in Baltimore, to give Art Modell his first ring, mm-hmm. right? To witness going through a 12-year stretch and then coming back and tearing my tricep and like, okay, what's next? Mm-hmm. And then I'm on the goal line with my back against the wall, and we're like, I got 4 plays the rest of my career. Like, this is it. So I'm like, okay, wow, perfect ending, right? But then I'm saying to myself, like, a lot of times you have to go through things to get there. And I think as a team, we matured. I think we matured along the way. And the city matured, man, to go, oh my gosh, if you would have saw the airports coming back home. And it's amazing because those memories never leave your head. Mm-hmm. So anytime I see confetti drop, anybody sees confetti, my head just tingles because I can never forget that moment that the last time I strapped up my cleats, right, I went out as a champion. Yeah.
So much talent out of Polk County, obviously one of the greatest ever out of Polk County, number 52. But if you had a message to the youngsters growing up in this county, trying to follow in your footsteps, what would it be?
Yeah, dream big. Dream big. Mm-hmm. A lot of us give up because of our environments, but sometimes your environments are actually there to actually push you, and I think kids, we don't have the things perfect, right? Nothing in life will ever be perfect. And so, but the imagination doesn't expand anymore. Like, open up your mind, and dream so big. At 14 years old, I dreamed big. I was like, I'm leaving Lakeland, and when I come back, I'm gonna have this, and this. And not that I just said it, I wrote it down. I put it in my Bible. I prayed about it daily. So I wasn't blindly walking, right? I was walking purely by faith because I knew what I had prayed about. I knew what I had promised my mom. I knew what I had promised my brothers and sisters. And when you promise that, then you have something to always chase the rest of your life. And it's necessarily not sports, right? It's not just a tackle. It's not just a Pro Bowl. It's purpose. And man, I'm telling you, like, I want this moment, and this is why I told all of Polk County, I want this moment to inspire hundreds of thousands of Ray Lewises who are sitting there and don't know how they're going to figure it out. Maybe daddy gone. Maybe situations ain't right at home, but you can still figure it out. But you got to have a plan, and that's the new thing, man. So I think that's my theme the whole weekend. Like, and I've been preaching this message for a while. Dream big, but dreaming big means you got to do some work too. Like, you got to put in a lot of work because a lot of things going to line up for you. But if you ain't in the proper alignment and ready to put in work, then it falls on deaf ears.
At this time, we'd like to unveil our newest exhibit here at the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. We certainly don't have a gold jacket or the bust like they have up there in Canton. But I believe Hank Longo has done a terrific job with this exhibit. as we celebrate your induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So you'll do the honors. We'll just pull on that front part a little bit. Don't pull hard. There we go. All right, everybody give it up for number 52, Ray Lewis.
Welcome back to Sports Central, everybody. Mark Jackson along with Sam Baker for segment number 2. Neil Duncan doing a good job with Ray Lewis. He definitely has a face for radio, though.
Well, he's not honored anymore. They gave that great responsibility on to me. But thank you to Harborside Restaurant right there in Winter Haven for being the sponsor of this show. Fantastic place right there on Lake Ship.
Just had dinner out there last Saturday night.
Really?
Oh, it was packed.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely,
it's a great spot.
Packed. And of course, you can sit there and you look out at Lake Ship and all the boats coming in and out of the canal and so on. It's a great place. And Dawn and Dave, I can never pronounce their name.
You want me to let you have it?
Spinagati.
Spinagati.
Yep. And so food was excellent, service was good. So it was good to see some of the folks I actually hadn't seen in a while. But speaking of Wiener Haven, that is a hotbed right now for sports and cultural activities as well. I don't know what that city would be without Rick and Christy Hemingway doing their thing for the cultural side of things. But we're here to talk about sports, Sam, and all the great things that are happening in Winter Haven, and so we had to bring in the best of the best. She is a little feisty, everybody, so you're going to have to bear with that. But who is this young lady? Well, her name is Julie Adams. She's 16 years with the city of Lakeland, and in fact, she was so feisty there, they threw her out and said, "Here, Winter Haven, you can have her." How do you like that for an introduction?
I mean, I guess I just mic drop and head out. So.
Exactly. No more. Don't even need to say anything else
right?
at this point.
Right. For sure.
But thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. It's already been a hot start from the beginning. How long have you been in this position now? It's feels like a day.
It does. Time is absolutely flying. I've actually been here now for almost 3 months. I started March 1st, which just, again, seems like yesterday.
Exactly.
But there is just so much going on in Winter Haven, and I have just come into a team that is high functioning and just, firing on all cylinders as it was. And it has been such a pleasure to come in and get to meet everyone and find out and start developing those relationships with our community partners and across our internal team as well. I'm just so impressed with the level of functionality that Winter Haven has. A lot of residents and people outside they just see what happens, but they don't see how it happens and who makes it happen. And I'm really proud to be a part of that team.
Well, a little inside look there, the gentleman that you're replacing, Travis Edwards, he's an icon in the world of sports, recreation, leisure, and all of that type of thing. And he was with the city of Winter Haven for 33 years. You probably don't know this. His wife used to work for me when I was at USA Water Ski and Wake Sports.
Wow,
Debbie.
Small world.
Oh yeah, she keeps him on the straight and narrow, I can tell you that. She kept me on the straight and narrow. But for 33 years, a long time, did a great job, got some big shoes to fill. Based on what we've seen, everybody's saying, man, off and running and going. You're stepping into a situation where there's a lot of new things coming to Winter Haven. Just opened up the Advent
Field House
within the last year or so. Huge responsibility there, particularly as we went through the things we went through last year. But there's more to come. But tell us a little bit about what your impression is of the Advent Fieldhouse and how has that benefited the city and the community in general?
Oh man, I don't have enough time.
That could be one show.
Yeah, it really could. I'm a Winter Haven, not resident anymore, but I'm a native. And so coming back to this job for me is like coming home. Obviously I was just right next door in Lakeland, but it has just been so awesome to see from an outsider's perspective looking in of the development and the intentionality on recreational services to our area, and how we're making a statement that this is going to be an exclamation point of what we do for not only now but years to come. And just starting with, if you're approaching Winter Haven from the overpass and just seeing that beautiful facility at night, oh man, like I've done the loop around so I can do it again, just to be able to see. It just is so awesome, like that gateway into Winter Haven. Again, making that statement, hey, we're here, recreation is a part of our blood, that's what we do. And so just, again, coming through the challenges that we had last year and still being able to thrive and maintain service to not only our local community, but regional, statewide, and nationwide, thanks to you guys and the work you're doing to bring in those events into our community. But what a beautiful place. I mean, the amenities it provides, the partnership that we have with Rich Art and with our theater organization to really rise up that cultural perspective of our department. And again, making that statement that we're not just Parks and Rec, but we're Parks, Recreation, and Culture. And that's just as important as the other amenities that we provide. But just, the court space, the mezzanine, the service to the community at large, and being able to have the fitness center. But just my hat goes off to that staff there. Scott Eilers and his team have done an impeccable job of keeping that place safe and letting people recreate in a safe environment through the pandemic. And now we've had a little bit of relief with CDC's recommendations and not having to do as much as often, but still maintaining safety as a priority. And bringing people back to play. I mean, we need that. As humans, we need to have that recreation component to keep the rest of us healthy and well. And that commitment to wellness, I think, is just expounded upon in that facility.
It's truly such an awesome place to go to, right? The approach, it's just this massive, beautiful blue building, and everything they have there, and just that main entrance, how tall it is, and you walk in, it really is an experience. But it's just only one of the facilities that we have here in Winter Haven. What are some of the other ones that just really are top-notch there?
Well, we're undergoing a lot of improvement right now in Winter Haven. Coming into this role, it's just almost overwhelming at the amount of capital investment that's being made, and for my brain to manage and to grasp. But thankful for my team that's right there with me to help me kind of get a good handle on it. But we've got the renovation of Martin Luther King Jr. Park in downtown on Lake Silver. That's, I mean,
that's going to be a big deal,
absolutely.
Julie, because that Winter Haven's going to be the hub of the 100th anniversary of the sport of water skiing in 2022. Yeah. The capstone event is going to be the World Show Ski Championships at that park. And the blending and working together to make that the best show ski site, in the world, is going to pay huge dividends. Not only leading up to that, because China, Belgium, Germany, Mexico are going to be coming over to practice at your place, but what's happening there, in terms of the water ski, the world of water skiing. This will showcase Winter Haven as the true capital, which is well deserved. And I'm just really looking forward to it. And those plans for MLK Park, I've had more people comment about how nice it looks already. So that's a testament to what you've done and what the city has done with that gorgeous facility.
I just want to reiterate, coming into the organization and being able to absorb what I have in 2 months and 21 days is just the intentionality that the city is utilizing to be able to provide those spaces at the level that we are providing them for now and years to come. Always when you build something, you have to make a plan for maintaining it, right? So just knowing and having a finger on the pulse of what the community wants, what makes us special. We like to refer to ourselves in Winter Haven as exceptionally local, and we do things to that end. And I think that having something like that World Championship happening in our own backyard, and the fact that we're making these strides towards the best location in the world for this to happen, is just another point towards that intentionality. But in addition to that, we've got the phase 2 for Chain of Lakes Park coming on, with the relocation of the ball fields and making that space more able to be utilized. Also, the activation of the shoreline there is part of the design, and that is going to be really neat to take advantage of the things that are exceptionally local to Winter Haven, the chain of lakes, you know, and being able to connect people from an athletic environment into a water resource environment with activities like that. And then we're renovating our the Winter Haven Recreation and Cultural Center. That's coming online. Construction will start soon with that, and upgrading that facility into, I mean, a top-notch facility for a community center, recreational opportunity.
Where's that located?
That is in Florence Villa off of MLK Boulevard.
Okay. Used to be called the Northeast Recreational Complex.
Correct.
For
those locals that have been around,
Yeah.
yes. So we're the community, and we are really excited about that. That's coming on in the next year or so. We're in design now.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. Renovating Sertoma Park, so the baseball fields there are getting a facelift. We've just, you know, there's just so much going on, and for those are the big things, right? But you know, I work hand in hand, and my partners at Public Works are doing a lot of things to make the more, maybe not so noticeable projects come about that partner with those big developments. So complete street projects, so we can create pathways and trails to connect people to those areas of our town and make commerce easier for people to connect and travel, and whether it be going to work or going to have fun, you can have a safe way to do that, whether you're on foot, on bike, or on scooter. So just that master plan thinking and that intentionality is very there.
I mean, it's honestly mind-blowing because someone that doesn't live in Winter Haven, it really is awesome to see how much development really is going there, and how much has already been there too. Because you have different places, you know, like MLK Park that is obviously getting revitalized and everything, but even downtown and Main Street and everything that's going on there, it's just such a cool little, you know, area that's it's getting redone.
I'm going to put her on the spot real quick because we only got a few, minute here. But it's part of the Chain of Lakes ballpark, historical ballpark, home to the Boston Red Sox. In 1992, after Hurricane Andrew, we recruited Bob Sheffield and I, the Cleveland Indians, and Russ Matt baseball and all the amateur stuff. Winter Haven has a history of baseball, you know. Downtown has a history, citrus and all of these types of things. And part of our discussion all along has been a sort of a timeline walk type thing at the Chain of Lakes to commemorate the baseball industry, Major League Baseball all the way down to the little booger pickers, you know, that play out there and do their thing. So, you know, it's just one of those things that I'm hoping that, your department in the city approves that, historical perspective, because I think it's part of our heritage.
Right. No, I would agree.
Because you're a Winter Haven girl. When did you graduate from high school?
You don't ask people that.
No.
Where did you graduate from high school?
I was a
question.
Lake Region graduate.
There we go.
So.
Go Thunder.
Yes, go Thunder.
But
she's a spring chicken if she graduated from Lake Region, because that's a new high school.
See, look at him.
There you go.
See how nice that was?
That was very nice.
That was
I
great.
appreciate you.
Great pivot.
Yeah.
Yes. He did say I was feisty, guys.
Well, thank you so much.
That's what your Aunt Lisa says.
My Aunt Lisa. I get it from her, I think.
Oh, she's something else.
That's right. Period. We'll just end there.
That's right. We will end right there because we're getting into some areas we probably don't need to get in, everybody, but it's all good, by the way. Julie, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. The work you've done in 2 months and 21 days has been tremendous, and we appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you in the future. And like you said, I think Winter Haven's future is bright.
Absolutely.
And we bring in talent like you. We appreciate it. I know the citizens do as well.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Absolutely. Well, everybody, we're talking a little bit about water skiing and all of that type of thing. Well, the Elite Cable Park is the only cable park here in Polk County, cable water ski, that is. Familiar with snow skiing, there's T-bars and pommel lifts and so on that tow people up the hill. This tows people around in a kind of in a circle, and it's really exciting with water skiing, wakeboarding, all sorts of fun stuff, Sam. And we have a little bit of footage from that. I think you're going to enjoy it. We're heading into summer. Hopefully this will start you cooling off. We'll be back. Segment number 3 right after this. Stick around, everybody.
Thank you for being sweet.
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 When you follow the 5 safety steps to slow the spread of COVID-19, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting the heart and soul of Polk County, Florida's sweetest spot.
everybody, and welcome back to segment number 3 of Sports Central. Mark Jackson along with Sam Baker, and wow, we had a feisty guest, Julie Adams. She's
I know,
fantastic.
But she was great. Always appreciate having someone like her on. A great guest, absolutely. But you just glazed right over it. Did you see me on the water ski on the cable park?
I mean, you're a stud.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you. First time I ever tried that.
You were ripping it up too.
Yep. You see that? It's very athletic.
I'm glad you set an example for the rest of the staff. Well, Julie said that she came from Winter Haven, doesn't know how to water ski, which is like an oxymoron. You know,
apparently.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
She wouldn't tell us how when she graduated. She's pretty secretive about that too.
Very much. It's okay. It's okay. But thank you so much to Cleveland Heights Golf Club in Lakeland for sponsoring this segment of Sports Central. They have a great facility. Last week, or not last week, 2 shows prior, we got a chance to talk to Brock Whitmer from Cleveland Heights. Always a great time talking to him. But thanks, thanks to them.
27-hole course. You don't see too many of those, and you know it's in good shape. I love playing Cleveland Heights.
It's a
one of my favorite
fantastic
courses,
place,
yeah.
and just recently, at least within the past few years, opened up after they had closed down one of them for some remodel. But it's more than just golf out there.
Renovation, yeah. But what a great community asset. It's all clustered there too. You
Yep.
got Lake Hollingsworth, the Bierman Tennis Facility in Cleveland Heights.
Dog Park in 1916, the new restaurant that had moved in upstairs. Great partners I know they have up there, and always fun. They have live music out there all the time. Got to get a chance to go out there and check that place out too.
Yeah, you got your social director.
Exactly. There you go.
Sam
Culture.
Baker.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's cultural. So let's go to something else.
Get back to the sports.
Yeah, and our next guest. We've been working on this because beginning of the show, I want to talk a little about inside look at what does it take to get all these sporting events here in Polk County. You know, they just don't show up. You know, it's not like, oh, we feel like going to Polk County, you know, to host this event. No, it's a competitive environment where you have, you know, you're competing against New York, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chicago, Miami, Disney, Wide World of Sports, and so on. One of the people that's responsible, now this year, Polk County will have recruited and hosted 272 sporting events. Amazing.
Unreal.
COVID year. You know, more than anybody in the state and I believe in the Southeast. Part of that team is sitting to my right, to your left, for those of you that are directionally impaired, and that is Raelyn Dessart. Do I say that right? I can never get it right.
It's Dessart. Close enough.
Yeah. Well, she was really smart because she married a good Wisconsin boy.
I did. His name is also Mark.
Yeah, his name is Mark. So, you know, there you have it, everybody. But, you know, just like in The Wizard of Oz, you know, don't look behind the curtain. Well, this is sort of the curtain, behind the curtain over here with Raelyn, because she is the primary person responsible for filling up the Advent Fieldhouse the entire 2020 year.
Yeah.
And I think you have 42 of 52 weekends booked
next year.
2021, 2022.
Correct. 22.
So, I mean, how does all this happen? These guys are just floating around there, you just grab one or two, or, I mean, how does it work?
It doesn't happen overnight. I mean, when I came in, luckily, the sales rep before me, he had already filled the majority of the 2020 calendar. Obviously, with COVID, that changed a lot. We had to do a lot of shuffling. There was cancellations for numerous reasons. So there was a little bit of new recruiting as well, especially when you had to fill the gaps. But, I mean, there's numerous ways that we do that. We go to shows, conferences all the time out in other states, and we sit with event organizers and we discuss, you know, our facilities and what they look like and what our area has to offer. And they as well tell us how big their event is, what it's like, and the people they bring in. And we just discuss from there, even after the shows, and decide if it's going to work best for the both of us. And that's just kind of how the recruiting process happens. There's other ways, RFPs we fill out, bids, we go out and figure out what events we really want to go after. We fill out their bid process and we find out from there. Sometimes we just get emails from other destinations that have an event that didn't work for them but might work for us, and there it's all about relationships. So
It's kind of like almost how I kind of equate it. It's almost kind of like playing matchmaker.
Right.
You go out and you get we have the inventory right here in Polk County of different facilities or places that we could host events, and we go out to see what event we could host there, and
Right.
and trying to match them up, the people that we meet and that you all go talk to. Where would your event work best? And then it not only do you all go that initial matchmaking kind of process, but then it extends after that. What kind of things do you do with these event organizers once they say, I'm coming to Polk County,
Right.
I'm going to bring a 100-team event or whatever, and we're going to be at the Advent Health Fieldhouse. What are those next things that you also help them with once they get here?
So there's a lot of different things. The first thing they ask is, can you help us with hotels? So we reach out to all of our hotels in the county, and we try to get the best rates that we can for them during their weekend, and we provide that information to them along with the contacts, and they can go from there in booking their stay. We also we have a brand new app that we use, and we have a Polk Savings Pass as well, and we send those to our event organizers to send to their spectators and participants, and they can use those while they're here in the county to save at the restaurants and look where they want to go and things like that. We also have our visitor information center. We have people that can come out to the actual event and do the exact same thing. Even with health and safety, we've used them for that with COVID and everything. That's been a huge help for us in making sure that they feel safe in those facilities. So those are a few things that we do, but there's other things like offering them coolers and golf carts for our outside facilities and different things like that.
Now that all goes into it because, I was talking about the competitive side of this thing, and before, starting the sports marketing program, I came from a U.S. Olympic Committee governing body. And so, I was dealing with communities all the time, and you know what to look for, what's a red flag and all of this type of stuff. What are some of Polk County's competitive advantages? I mean, when Disney says, well, we can provide this,
Right.
You've got to have more than an elevator pitch, if you will, to say, now, this is the best place to hold your national championships. I
Right.
mean, what do you lean back on, or what do you go back to?
I mean, there are a few different things. I would say, obviously, the location is key because they're not having to stay in these high traffic areas like Tampa and Orlando. They can stay in Polk County. Even if they want to go to Disney World, they can still travel there as long as they stay here in our county. And I mean, there's other things like just the family-oriented things that we have, especially with Legoland being near the Winter Haven Fieldhouse. That's a huge draw for Polk County, as well as having a brand new facility. I mean, that's a huge draw as well, getting people to want to come here. So I think all of those things combined, really.
So if you look back over your career with Polk County sports marketing and all the recruiting that you've done, and obviously filling up the Advent Fieldhouse, nobody thought that was possible. You did it. What was your biggest recruiting success? Not necessarily has to be the largest
Right.
event, but the one that you're most proud of.
I would have to say the cornhole event that we did during Super Bowl weekend. It was the American Cornhole League. They held their nationals there with 250 pros. So like you said, it wasn't the largest, but we did have a live airing on ESPN2, which is huge, as well as 4 additional re-airings of the show. And we got a commercial spot. So for visibility purposes, that was one of our largest events. And I think it was a huge success. We even had celebrity guests there. NFL players, Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Doug Flutie, Rashad Jennings. I mean, I don't personally watch football, but those are big names, and we were really happy to have them there. So.
Well, Raelyn, that's an inside look into a little bit what goes on behind the curtain. It is super competitive, hyper competitive market, and you've done a great job. I think those accomplishments are probably second only to agreeing to come on the show, because I know that you weren't real thrilled about that. But one of these days we're going to have you host the show along with me. So anyway, thank you so much, and that's going to segue beautifully, everybody, into the next footage before we go to our local update, and that is Youth Basketball of America, one of the teams or one of the organizations that is utilizing the Advent Fieldhouse. Check this out, Youth Basketball of America, up close and personal. Mark and Sam will be back right after this.
YBOA is Youth Basketball Association of America, and it's a national organization. Florida has its region or its own, I guess, franchise of that, and I believe that's run by Jack Love.
And they have nice venues and they take care of the kids. Some events you go to, they just get the kids ribbons and stuff. Jack Love gonna make sure they have trophies, MVP trophies, first team tournament. They take care of the kids, and that's what I'm all about.
It's one of the major sanctioned organizations for youth sports, especially youth basketball, and it's one of those organizations that I think does it the right way. The check-in and registration process is the right way. They're making sure that kids are competing on a very even level. So it's very similar to AAU, it's very similar to USSSA and programs like that.
This is my second year being at this event. We're from Lakeland, so it's all Polk County. So we know these gyms pretty good. So we always want to play at home where we're comfortable. So that was the first time we brought us out. And then our second time we brought us out, it was just we were familiar with this tournament. We liked it the first time we came, so we wanted to come back and enjoy it again. We plan to come every time they have an event. It's a local event, like I said, so it's easy to come. It's not too costly. So it's a pretty cheap tournament, but also it's a really good tournament. Like, there are a lot of teams in this tournament.
This would be one of the larger events. For instance, in our pool, I believe there are 12 teams or 9 teams, something in that range. So for a middle school event, this is one of the largest.
Like, usually when we go on tournaments, there are like maybe 4 or 5 teams in our age group. But for 6th grade, this tournament, it's always like 15 teams.
I think it's a great center, great facilities. The staff is very professional.
And I've always commented on how organized they are here at the facility. And the lady that's here that runs it, not much gets past her. She does a really good job. And they keep the facilities nice.
I've been coaching basketball now probably for 7 or 8 years. Obviously I played basketball. It's my passion, and this is my give back. I do it for the kids. We definitely want to make sure that we continue to give kids outlets for exercise, outlets for competition, and not just sitting in front of their video games or on their phones. So for me, this is my give back to make sure that the kids are getting some healthy interaction, and I do it through basketball.
It's all about the kids, because I have 10 kids on my team, but I usually keep 8. But the 8 that I've had them for like 6, 7 years now. So I've started young with them, and now all of them are in senior high now. And I'm gonna take them all the way till they graduate. Like, I'll be coming back here probably next year. Well, I have 3 more years to come here because all my kids are in the 9th grade. And it's all about them.
Well, I happen to work in Polk County. My company, has a location here, so I spend a lot of time here. And I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite places in Central Florida.
I grew up in Polk County, so I know the talent we have here. I know everything we have here. I love. So I love when other teams come from out of town. And they usually give us good compliments. We love to come play Polk County basketball, so it's a pretty good event.
Everybody, and welcome back to Sports Central. Mark Jackson along with Sam Baker. Segment number 4, this is our local update. Good time had by one and all, Sam, and there is so much going on. But before we get there,
Oh yeah, definitely have to give a great shout out to the Holiday Inn in Winter Haven. Very thankful for them. Actually located right next to the Advent Health Fieldhouse and the Channel Lakes Baseball Complex. So perfect location for them and everything that we do over here at Polk County Sports Marketing.
Well, it's a hotbed for athletes, pro and amateur alike. We've had some real celebrities stay there over the years. But of course, the Cassidys, Pete and family, Al, not the patriarch, but he's kind of the patriarch of the business. Doing a great job over there and great host for our many guests. Sam, there's so much going on. 36 events in the month of May, and it's not letting up this weekend. You know, we've got one more week to go, and then we get into June, week after next. That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
But what are some of the hot things happening?
Oh, well, we got a chance to watch some of the YBOA footage just recently. Well, they have another classic coming in. That's the Sunshine Classic right there, May 21st through the 23rd. So starting today right there at the Advent Health Fieldhouse. And then we always love talking about FYSA and them out at Lake Myrtle, and they have another championship out there. The State Cup Finals is one of their largest tournaments of the year, and they will have that starting tomorrow out there as well. FYSA stands for Florida Youth Soccer Association. Might be a little easier to say.
Governing body of soccer in the state of Florida is based right at Lake Myrtle. That's a huge advantage.
A fantastic advantage. It helps a lot whenever they're looking for a place to put their largest tournaments. I mean, where better than their own backyard? So it's a good place for them to have their location there. Baseball, we always talk about baseball. Love NSA. Their West Coast regionals will be right here starting this weekend as well. But another one, a little atypical one, is spike ball out there at Lake Myrtle as well.
All right, we need a translation here.
Okay, so I've had to do this description a few times, so I think I may have found the best way to put it. But it's a yard game, 2-on-2, and there's a little yellow ring with a net trampoline in the middle. Okay. It's a mix between almost volleyball and cornhole. So you'll hit the small ball off the trampoline, and you go back and forth with points, and you can't let the ball touch the ground.
There you have it, everybody.
It's a really fun sport. You got to get out and try it.
Are there any events that you don't recruit?
Yeah, I think the statement, if it's morally, ethically sound, it should be in Polk County. So we recruit everything from spike ball to Quidditch. To your standard football, soccer, baseball. It comes right here.
Well, speaking of a lot of different sports under one umbrella, the Sunshine State Games, that's a huge event. It's been going on for decades, and we just happened to be hosting a number of their sports this year.
Yeah, a number of their events and all throughout the county as well. So golf will be out at Stream Song within the next few weeks. We'll also have weightlifting and taekwondo amongst a few others. Bowling will be at the Cypress Lane. So all of that will be in and around the county within the next few weeks. So very fortunate to host a great game, a great tournament like that. Will actually help out with some of the impact of canceling the senior games, the Polk Senior Games, helping those athletes get a chance to qualify again for those state senior games by competing in these ones.
Well, Sam, I know that I mentioned it with Dan Talbot because he's being inducted as the Bernie Little Sports Executive of the Year, but the All Sports Awards, Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame will be kicking off and will be held June 8th at the RP Funding Center. What can people expect? And are there any tickets available, or are you full?
We are just about near capacity this year, unfortunately, but you can catch it on the Ledger that following week, as well as right here as well. But very big thank you to our partners here at Polk County Sports Marketing and Sports Central, but BSN Sports, Hampton Inn Lakeside Village, Home 2 Suites, the Hollywood Window Tinting and Signs, and Office Furniture Depot, all great sponsors of this show.
Well, the ugly sister version of this show, just kidding, it's a great show because Sam hosts it, is Sports Central on WLKF 96.7 FM and 1430 AM on your radio dial or whatever digital device you millennials use to listen to stuff, I guess. Anyway, that's some of the same great guests, some of that we can't schedule into the TV show. That's held every week, Thursdays, 5 to 6 o'clock, one of the top 5 radio shows in all of Central Florida. It's that popular, so make sure you check that out, everybody. Our next live show, June 4th. Well, this is Mark Jackson for all the folks and the producers and directors at PGTV that do such a tremendous job. Thanks so much for joining us. Mark Jackson, on behalf of Sam Baker and PGTV, we'll see you again next time.